So, question 2, we do have a typo and then also a number that we need to fix. But number 2, when Joey dives off a diving board, the equation of his pathway can be modeled by h equals negative 16t squared plus 16t. I know that on the notes sheet I uploaded it says 15 there in the middle. Please, please, please change it to 16 right now, plus 12. So negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 12. Again, we're going to find the maximum and we're going to find how long it takes for Joey to reach the water. So again, that's when our function is going to be equal to 0. To do the first part, we need negative b over 2a. Negative b over 2a, well, b is 16, so it's negative 16 over 2 times a. Well, a this time is negative 16. So if I get negative 16 over negative 32, which simplifies to 1/2. So 1/2 is not Joey's maximum height. 1/2 is how long it takes Joey to reach that. So that's our t. So we're going to plug 1/2 into our function and see what comes out. That will give us our height. So h equals negative 16. 1/2 goes in for t, so we get 1/2 quantity squared plus 16 times 1/2 plus 12. This is going to be negative 4 plus 8 plus 12. So that's going to be 16. And again, I'm going to use feet. It's not given to us the distance that they're measuring in here, but feet makes sense. It's a pretty standard unit of measure. So if you use feet, I'm totally okay with that. But we have to, again, use negative b over 2a to get how long it takes for that to happen. So it's 1/2. Again, we'll use a second. So 1/2 of a second till he reaches his highest point, and then we plug that 1/2 in for the time. So again, it's 1/2 a second, and we use calculator, and we get 16 feet. So we know how high he was able to jump in his trajectory. Now we're going to look at, well, how long did it take for him to hit the water? So we're going to use the idea of setting our quadratic equal to 0. So I'm going to take this thing, and I get negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 12 equals 0. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to factor, and I am, but if I look at this, I can make my life a little bit easier in the factoring world if I divide all of these terms by something. Negative 16, 16, and 12 can all be divided by negative 4. So if I factor out a negative 4, I get 4t squared minus 4t minus 3. And that actually makes my problem a little bit easier. I'm still going to have to use the harder diamond problem to factor it, but I've got smaller numbers. So I can divide both sides by negative 4, and that'll drop out here on the left, so I just get 4t squared minus 4t minus 3. If I divide the right-hand side by negative 4, 0 divided by anything is still 0. So I don't really need these parentheses here, but I'm not going to make you watch me erase them. So now I'm going to use a harder diamond problem to factor this. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 4 goes in the bottom. And I need to figure out what multiplies to negative 12 but adds to negative 4. And it's going to be negative 6 and positive 2. You'll notice I wrote those smaller in the diamond because since I multiplied that 4 in, I have to divide that 4 out. So I've got negative 6/4 and positive 2/4. Remember, when we bring these out of the diamond into our factors, we reduce. 6 over 4 reduces to be 3 over 2, and 2 over 4 reduces to be 1/2. So now we've got two things multiplying to be 0. So that means we can use that zero product property. So x minus 3/2 could be 0, or x plus 1/2 could be 0. Solving each of those, we get x equals 3/2, or x equals negative 1/2. So you can't circle both of those because they're both not correct. They are both zeros of the function or roots of the function, but they don't make sense in the story. So find the time it will take for Joey to reach the water. Well, 3/2, I like fractions, y'all like decimals, but 3/2 does make sense. So if you type 3/2 in your calculator, it would tell you it's 1.5. So if you told me it's going to take 1.5 seconds for Joey to hit the water, that makes total sense to me. If you tell me that it takes negative 0.5 seconds, Joey's not magical. He can't go back in time. So negative 1/2, it is a zero of the function, but it does not make sense in the problem. So do not tell me x equals 1.5 or x equals negative 0.5. They both aren't correct because, again, he's not able to go backwards in time. So please, when we put these in the context of a story problem, think about what makes sense. Similarly, if you had typed this in your calculator for part A and got a negative number, well, that wouldn't make any sense either. His maximum height wouldn't be a negative. He didn't go under the water and then come back out. I mean, I guess he did, but not in the context of the story. So please carefully read the story and think about, does your answer make sense?